Damned if we do, but completely stuffed if we don't. Heat waves will worsen longer, net zero is delayed. A new study suggests heat waves will not revert back towards pre-industrial conditions for at least 1,000 years. After emissions target reached, sign up for climate and environment editor Adam Morton's free Clear Air newsletter here. Heat waves will become hotter, longer, and more frequent. The later net zero emissions is reached globally, new research suggests. Scientists at the ARC Center of Excellence for 21st Century Weather and Australia's National Science Agency, the CSIRO, simulated how heat waves would respond over the next 1,000 years, examining the differences for each 5-year delay in reaching net zero between 2030 and 2060. The research published in the journal Environmental Research Climate found that for countries near the equator, delaying net zero until 2050 would result in heat wave events that break current historical records at least once yearly. The study also suggests that heat waves will not revert back towards pre-industrial conditions for at least a millennium after net zero is reached, which critically challenges the general belief that conditions after net zero will begin to improve for near future generations. The thing with net zero and heat waves is, we're damned if we do, but we're completely stuffed if we don't. The study's lead author, Prof. Sarah Perkins Kirkpatrick of the Australian National University, said, "We're already locked into a certain amount of warming. Sign up to get climate environment editor Adam Morton's Clear Air column as a free newsletter. Stabilizing global heating at 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius would still result in impacts that we haven't yet experienced, including worse heat waves," she said. "The thing is, if we delay net zero up to 30 years and even longer, those impacts are only going to get worse. We're already locked into some, but the longer we leave net zero, the worse it's going to be." In Australia, you have the coalition basically saying, net zero is useless, it's pointless, it's not worth it, it's going to cost us too much money, she said. Well, it's going to cost us even more if we don't even get to net zero by 2050. The silver lining to this sort of study, if there is one, is that we have time to adapt. So when these heat waves occur, we're as prepared for them as possible, she said. We know the impacts of heat waves. There's so much understanding about the health impacts, ecosystem impacts, impacts on financial services. What those adaptation strategies look like, that remains to be seen, she said. Those conversations can start now. The modeling was done using Australia's global climate simulator, known as ACCESS, and defined a heat wave as at least 3 consecutive days where temperatures are above the 90th percentile for maximum temperature. Prof. David Carrolley, a decorated climate change scientist and counselor with the Climate Council, who was not involved in the research, said the findings were not surprising. There is a clear relationship between the cumulative emissions of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and global mean temperatures, he said. Carrolley added that the study's results were interesting, but one caveat was that there were uncertainties in the modeling relating to potentially important processes such as rainfall changes, because the geographical representation of Australia and other regions in the ACCESS model was of a lower resolution than for other climate simulators. Explore more on these topics.